Most DJs have no idea how powerful the brand new effects inside Serato actually are, or how much better your sets can sound when they're dialed in properly. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I customize my effects inside Serato, and I'll walk you through exactly what settings I have so that you can use them at your next gig. So here's the thing, Serato's effects used to be really quite bad. And I used to work on the artist relations team at Serato for 7 years. And I can count on one hand the number of DJs that used the effects inside the Serato software on a regular basis. But last year, Serato decided to rebuild the effects from the ground up. And they are a massive improvement. Not only do the effects themselves sound a whole lot better, but you can actually go in and adjust the parameters for every single effect, and crucially, you can then save your settings of that effect so that you can call it up anytime. Back in the old version of Serato, you could affect the parameters and change them, but when you close the software, they go back to how they are by default, and that's no good. What that meant is that DJs just didn't bother customizing the effects. Now, that problem has gone. I'm going to show you exactly how I set mine up so that you can just steal them for your next gig. So here in Serato, if you click on the effects icon at the top of the screen, the effects window will open up in the middle. Now right here, it doesn't look too different to how it used to look before the update. But if you click on this settings icon on the right hand side of the effects panel, now you can see it looks way different. So right now we've currently got echo selected, and you can see in the gray area all of the different parameters that you can change for the echo. So you can affect the feedback, the high pass filter, the drive, and the beat modify. Now the different parameters that you can tweak for each effect will change depending on the effects that you've got loaded. You can see right here, I've got the classic DDJ SP1 Serato controller. And the reason I've got this here is I am going to MIDI map all three of the different parameters to these three knobs right here. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to show you how you can change the sound of the effect by twisting and changing the parameters. And it just feels way better to adjust those parameters on an actual controller. So the next thing I'm going to do is show you how to MIDI map all of those parameters to any Serato device. And it's really easy to do. So these three knobs right here, I am going to set to control these three parameters inside Serato. To do this, first of all, you've got to go to the Serato settings, and then under the MIDI tab, click the device that you want to change the mapping for. So here we've got the DDJ SP1, and you need to make sure that this box right here allows Serato hardware remapping is ticked. So now that that's done, let's come out of the settings screen, and then we want to click on the MIDI tab right here. MIDI mapping something like a knob or a fader is super easy. All you need to do is hover over the knob or the fader that you would like to MIDI map like this. And you can see it says click to assign MIDI. So let's click that. And now Serato is waiting for us to move the knob or fader that we would like to assign this to. So I'm going to assign this to this knob here. You just move it like that. And you can see, because it's turned blue, that has now mapped to that knob. So if I move that, you can see it changes the parameter in Serato. Now let's do the same for the other two. So let's hover over this knob, click it, move this dial right here, and now that has MIDI mapped. And now let's do the same for this one. Click on this dial, move this knob, and you can see that that is now MIDI mapped. Now I also want to MIDI map the dial for the amount of echo that's being applied. So let's click on this dial right here, and I'm actually going to MIDI map it to the sampler volume. So you just move it like that, and that is now MIDI mapped. So now if I come out of MIDI, a good thing to do is to save any MIDI mappings that you make. So let's go back to the settings, and then under MIDI, you can see it currently says unsaved. Let's click save, give it a name. So SP1 effects mapping, click OK. And now we can call up this MIDI mapping whenever we like. And by the way, the whole goal with my channel is to help you become a more skillful and creative DJ. I've taught hundreds of people to level up their skills via my online courses. And if you would like to get a taster of those for free, then click the link in the description where you will find some in-depth step-by-step lessons that will help you level up right away. Now the first effect that we're going to be using is clean rollout. So let's click on this drop-down menu and then scroll down until we get to clean rollout. Here it is right here. Let's click that, and now you can see that the parameters have changed. We can affect the echo or feedback, the filter, the roll, and the beat modify. So you can see right here, I can change all of these parameters directly from my Serato controller. Now the clean rollout effect performs a roll followed by an echo out. Now getting this to sound super clean means really dialing in the settings. So I'm going to turn the roll dial down here. Maybe turn the feedback up. Filter here. So now it's starting to sound like something I'd use. Nice. I'm going to turn the feedback up slightly and the roll down a bit more. So after a little bit of experimentation, these are the settings that I've come up with for the clean rollout that I think sound best. So the rollout starts with a nice high frequency, but very quickly rolls off to a low frequency. And it's got a nice echo tail, but it doesn't last for too long. So those would be the settings I suggest for the clean rollout. I think that's a nice alternative to the classic echo out, and I would definitely use that in my sets. Next up, we have an effect called break echo. Now what break echo does is it applies a turntable stop to the sound and then an echo out. So if we take a look in Serato, with break echo, we can affect the feedback, the stop time, the stop curve, and of course the beat modify. The beat modify seems to be on most effects. So now let's play the same track and let's see what the break echo sounds like when we adjust these parameters. So you could hear a turntable stop there before an echo. Now that echo is very much high pass filter heavy. And what I've found is with the amount of effect here, which I've got assigned to the sampler volume, is the higher you turn this up, the more high pass filter. So if you turn this up just over halfway, then the echo out is much less high pass filter heavy. So that actually sounds quite good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the beat value to half a beat. So that's actually sounding really good. The feedback is sounding nice. What I might do is try and play around with the stop curve. So let's turn that up. Maybe not quite so high. That's nice. And let's turn up the stop time. Maybe down a bit. So after playing around, these are the settings that I've come up with that I think sound best for the break echo. So the higher you turn up the amount here, the more high pass filter. So I always try and turn it up about half, just over halfway. And I think that right there has got the perfect tail, and I think it sounds good. Don't forget, you can also change the beat value to make it sound completely different. But for this effect, I think half beat is perfect. For our next effect, we're going to be looking at reverb. And in my opinion, inside Serato, the reverb to go for is called Epic Reverb. So if you take a look at Serato, you can see that we can affect the decay, the contour, the width, and also the mix type. Let's play the same track and play around with the different parameters and see what it sounds like. So the contour right here is really a filter. As I turn it to the right, the reverb becomes more high pass filtered. And if I turn it to the left, you can hear that the reverb has a low pass filter. So really the contour is a filter. Let's put that in the middle. Right here, we got the width. So this is how wide the reverb is, obviously. I like that turned up quite high. And then you've got the decay, which is kind of like the room size. The lower down we go, the smaller the reverb. And then if we turn it up, the room gets bigger. So now it's like we're in a hall. And don't forget, the amount here will massively change how the reverb sounds. So right here, we've got it set to quite a big room or a big decay, but the amount is quite low. That sounds quite good. Now let's turn down the filter. So that to me is sounding quite good. After a bit more experimentation, these are the epic reverb settings I've come up with that I really like. I'm a big fan of having the decay set quite high, but the amount that's being applied quite low. This way, you get a really nice big reverb tail, but you're fully in control of how much of that reverb is coming through. Let's take a listen. Don't forget you can change the amount here, so let's turn it up slightly. I like mine slightly lower than that. I think that right there is a really nice middle ground. I really like a reverb with a nice long tail, and being in control of how much tail is applied via the amount dial right here is perfect. Now let's take a look at the next effect, which is the classic echo. But the parameters inside Serato give you an amazing opportunity to make it sound exactly how you want it. So you can see here, you've got feedback right here. You've also got high pass filter, which is always nice. And you've also got a drive dial right here. So you can hear it applies a little bit of distortion to that echo. For me, the key with echo is getting the amount and the amount of feedback dialed in just right. Maybe a bit more feedback. And here are my final settings for the echo inside Serato. So that right there is how I'm using the brand new effects inside Serato. I really don't think enough people have gone in and dialed in the effects to sound just how they like. But hopefully this will give you an idea of how to make them sound half decent. And don't forget, there are way more effects inside Serato now. I know from experience that most DJs just want a good echo and a good reverb, and maybe a couple of variations of that. But if you want to get even more creative, then trust me, have a look at the amount of new effects in Serato, take a listen through them, and you'll almost certainly find something that you really like that surprises you. Now, if scratching and creative DJing are your thing and you would like to level up your skills for free, then down in the description of this video, I have links to some free scratching lessons and some free creative open format DJ lessons. All you need to do is click those links and I will send those lessons to your email for free. Now, if you want to know about the most important settings inside Serato that will give you flawless performance, then you should check out this video right here that I made where I go through all of the most important settings so that yours are dialed in perfectly.